Soon, the Decepticons will know their true master. Soon Megatron shall fall in the cracks. And soon, I, Starscream, will be leader of the Decepticons. All hail Starscream!
Welcome, Transformers fans, to a new video review on Transformers Prime Starscream. This is the first edition Starscream. I've already opened them and taken them out of the packaging, so let's take a look at them. Here's what the toy of Transformers Prime First Edition Deluxe Class Starscream comes with. He comes with instructions, which we'll get to later on, because there's a few things I want to talk about in the instructions that I just wanted to point out, and this little box, which I already put Starscream in jet mode on top of. It's a pretty cool cardboard box. Now, originally, I thought that it was going to be this, but I guess because of all the warning labels and all that, they wanted to give it something different. A separate little box thing, just for display purposes. But yeah, that's what he comes with, and he can be placed in jet mode or robot mode. Robot mode's a little bit hard to place on that, just because it's more rounded off at the bottom. So yeah, but we'll get to that later on. And here's Transformers Prime Starscream in his jet mode. Really represents Starscream in the animated show Transformers Prime, which you can watch on the hub. I know in Canada you can watch in Teletoon, if you guys were wondering. Starscream looks pretty good. Very accurate to the show model, except for the kibble at the bottom, but because of how Starscream's legs are designed, it looks sleek, and it's quite alright. Looking from the front, yeah, you can see that, but it's supposed to be landing gear right here, so I don't necessarily mind that. Plus, he's got a lot of alien kibble on his jet mode, especially right here, but yeah, I don't necessarily mind it. It's a really good jet, and these rockets can come off from the jet, so you can remove them if you wish. Makes his wings look more clean and agile. And the nose cone is rubber. It's very soft rubber. And some other parts are that soft rubber. And because of that, he was packaged with this piece going to the one side instead of just straight on, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's pretty good looking Starscream. A fantastic jet overall. And let's get this guy transformed, since we've already got the rockets taken off. First, you're going to remove the legs and flip them forward, which I realize now I have to lift up the camera, just so you guys can get a better view of his transformation. Rotate the waist from here, and you can see the notches right there coming out from here. They go into a couple of holes in the cockpit. They were right here, now you have to put them right here, like so. Flip up these little knee spike things or whatever. It's got a couple of fins underneath here, which it does not describe to transform in the instructions. And flip out the toes and the heel. Do the same thing to the other side. This is probably one of the coolest things of this transformation. This piece is supposed to rotate, but when you do that, It makes a nice satisfying click. And in case you're wondering if it's going to break, I don't get the feeling that it's going to break anytime soon. So that's pretty good. You can just see how tall Starscream is. Incredibly tall for a deluxe. Take the wings and pull them to the side. They're double jointed. There's another joint right there to lift them up. And you just want to move them all the way back like so. Take the arms from here and rotate them down and around, and you can see all this kibble right here. Right here. That stays where it is. You can see the little screw in there. That's supposed to go all the way up to the top of that. So just pull down the arm. Flip up the wing, which we'll put the rockets on in a sec, and flip down the fist. Quickly, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And we're getting there. There's his body, his arms, his legs. Now we gotta get through his thruster and his head. So first, the chest is on a joint. You just want to fold that down. You can see how it's folding down like so. Pull out the assembly from here, and you can see his head right there. It's on another little joint. You just flip that up. You want to open up this tail fin. Oh, no. You want to rotate the rocket around from that joint and then separate the tail fin from here, or whatever it's called. Just collapse everything into the back, like so. Flip down the little rocket. Flip down the head. It's on that little joint again. Just flip it down and give it a little push. You can see this gap right here. You want to fill that out, which it's not doing. Oh, there we go. And make a little random fin on his head. Just flip up. And that should be painted red, but because of this gray plastic for safety concerns, it's also in that plastic, so they just painted it gray. But there's Starscream in robot mode. Let me just put on the rockets. It's just attached to what was the wings in the back. Now, for some reason on this one, the rocket will come off and will form a single rocket. Unfortunately, you cannot put the single rocket onto the arm. It has to be complete with the 3 rockets. Even though that's not exactly accurate to Starscream in the show, I don't necessarily mind that. But for some reason, I can't do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to get him positioned, and we'll be back in a sec. Alright, so as you can see, Starscream is a little bit taller than Drift, but he is definitely not Voyager size, which I like that comparison because he's still smaller than Megatron, but he's definitely much larger, or not much larger, but he's definitely larger than a Deluxe figure. And I like that comparison. It's not too big, not too small. And I just think that the Voyager will be too big, or about Megatron's height. And I just think that Starscream should just be smaller than Megatron, and that's it. Shouldn't be the same size, should just be smaller. And that's why I bought this figure instead of the Voyager. And the reason why I didn't get the one with Bumblebee is because I didn't like that one too much. Too much purple in it. It kind of reminded me of Skywarp, even though Takara's coming out with a Skywarp version. I just didn't like that. I like this one better. It's more accurate to the show, and it's not that big, not too small. So that's why I got this figure. I'm not too sure how Transformers Prime Megatron is going to be compared to Dark of the Moon Voyager class Megatron, but that's all I can say. It's a good size. So yeah. And here's Transformers Prime Starscream in robot mode. Fantastic representation of the CGI model that you see on the TV show. And because of his amount of posability, he can imitate a lot of motion from his CGI model. Fantastic representation. Now, as I said before, the box is rounded off on the bottom, so it's really hard to pose him. So I don't use that at all for him. I'm pretty sure it works best for maybe Bumblebee, because Bumblebee has a wider feet. But for Starscream, it's very thin, so he doesn't really stand all too well. See? My point proven. But he's got this creepy look. He's very, very sinister looking. He's got this little smirk on his face. But, he's incredibly thin. I mean, eat a sandwich, for God's sake. But what I have noticed in the instructions is that the cockpit is supposed to be clear plastic, but it's painted over in this grayish bluish paint. And they don't describe the fins in the back of the legs. But all that aside, the instructions are really, really helpful for this toy. It's not that hard to transform. Downsides, well, he doesn't stand all too well. He's got that cockpit piece hanging off the back, and I don't get why. I don't know if it should have been used for something, but it's just hanging off there, and it's really weird. And because of the landing gear, it kind of looks like he's got this weird belly button. Starscream has a belly button. Well, with downsides aside, he's a fantastic model. He's a little bit taller than a Deluxe, a normal Deluxe figure, but he's not about Voyager size, which is perfect for my scale figures when you compare the Voyager Megatron for Transformers Prime. Fantastic scale. Not as big as Megatron, but definitely not that much smaller. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed. I guess I'll see you guys later. And Ask Shockwave will be coming out tomorrow. So please send in your questions. The video will be in the description. That's all for now.